Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we have one of the most intriguing stacks of source material we've ever tackled.
It really is something.
It's a journey that starts at this incredibly high level of global data policy and then ends with, well, the most intensely personal legal battles you can imagine.
That's right. We're zoning from the sheer scale of UN reports on digital transformation, these complex World Customs Organization metrics,
Right.
all the way down to the granular step-by-step requirements for launching a legal claim for malpractice.
It's such a vast difference in perspective, but there's a common thread, right? Efficiency, measurement, and how you access these incredibly complex systems.
That's our mission today, to pull out the critical insights, the why behind whether it's about government standards in Seoul or the standard of care a patient is owed in New Mexico.
We're starting with that panoramic view, how governments worldwide are just racing toward digitalization.
And crucially, how the international community is trying to measure that progress accurately for services, for trade, for everything, really.
Okay, so let's unpack this. We're beginning with the UN e-government survey. This has been the authoritative voice on this since, 2001? So that gives us a remarkable amount of continuous data.
It does. And they've developed a standard way to measure success. The E-Government Development Index, or EGDI.
And this isn't just a simple measure of whether a country has a website, I take it.
Not at all. It's much deeper.
So what's the foundational metric they start with?
Well, they start with the absolute basics, which is the Telecommunication Infrastructure Index, the TII.
Makes sense. No fast internet, no e-government.
Simple as that. Once you have the pipes, then they look at the Human Capital Index, the HCI.
What does that include?
Things like adult literacy, years of schooling, because, digital services are pretty useless if the population can actually use them.
And the third layer, this is the one that's probably most visible to us, is the Online Services Index, the OSI.
Exactly. And that measures the breadth, the complexity of what's on offer. It looks specifically at whether services are transactional.
So can you do something online or just read about it?
That's the key question. And what really stands out when you look at the data is the acceleration in developing economies.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, the sources show that lower middle-income countries improved their average EGDI values by over 15% between 2018 and 2020 alone.
So this isn't just an elite first world phenomenon. The adoption is happening everywhere.
It's truly global.
And when you look at those top tier countries, digital services are just
They're
the standard now.
Overwhelmingly, 66% of all UN member states now offer online transactional services. But if you drill down into the very high and high OSI groups, that number just jumps.
To what?
To 93% and 81%. It's not an add-on anymore, it's the expectation.
That period around 2020, it must have been the ultimate test for all these systems.
You said it. The COVID-19 pandemic became this completely unexpected global stress test for digital government.
And what's surprising here is it wasn't just central governments adapting. The crisis really became a catalyst for these highly local, really specific tools.
It did. We saw governments using real-time data to make rapid policy decisions based on, immediate on-the-ground needs. We saw some really specific innovations emerge.
Like what?
Well, Singapore launched a dedicated COVID-19 chatbot.
Just for employers.
Specifically to keep employers updated on the constantly evolving regulations. And in Estonia, the Jarvar Vault community developed this engagement app to share local guidelines, to sort of maintain a community connection digitally.
And talk about direct governance. In Sofia, Bulgaria, the municipality launched an app that lets citizens directly report breaches of social distancing.
Right, to help law enforcement.
Yeah.
It showed that when the chips were down, these platforms became tools of public safety, not just convenience.
This push for digital connection, it extends to public input too, which brings us to what the sources call the participation puzzle.
Yeah. We're seeing a rise in platforms for e-participation consultations, forums, e-petitions.
But just building the platform doesn't guarantee people will come, does it? The sources say uptake is often pretty low.
And that's the critical insight. The problem isn't always about technology access or, digital skills.
So what is it?
The sources point to an underlying issue of, institutional psychology. It's a reluctance of public institutions to actually share power.
To share the agenda setting.
Exactly. They're happy to accept data in, but they're much less happy to share decision-making power out.
You can see that friction really clearly at the local level. Most city portals, they just rely on Facebook and Twitter for public interaction.
Right, because is cheaper and people are already there.
You rarely see them build in more traditional tools like e-polls or dedicated chat rooms for a real two-way conversation.
Which is why the Local Online Service Index, the LOSI, is so important. When we measure cities using LOSI, we find city portals generally do worse than their national counterparts.
How much worse?
The average LOSI value is only 0.43. The real weakness for cities is service provision.
They're good at pushing information out.
Great at content, yeah. But only 7% of city portals met most of the indicators for actual transactional services, for doing things for the public.
But the potential of smart city tech is still huge when that data loop is closed correctly.
Oh, absolutely. Look at Hangzhou in China. Their real-time traffic management system.
Using video analysis.
Right. Increased traffic speeds by 11% and cut travel time by 10%. That's a massive, measurable quality of life improvement just from data.
And it's not just traffic. In Dubai, their Electricity and Water Authority, BUWAA, they implemented this AI chatbot.
Ramas.
Right, Ramas. And it was so effective, it targeted reducing physical office visitors by 80%. AI is driving efficiency in basic utility services.
So if we move from smart cities to the global engine of commerce, we find the World Customs Organization, the WCO, they're facing the exact same data challenges, just at a totally different scale.
It's interesting, they also emphasize that for organizations to thrive, they need these knowledge management and retention strategies where, well, meaning is as important as money.
I thought that was fascinating. It shows a real focus on institutional health, which you don't often see in these dry policy reports.
And technically, customs is shifting from reactive risk management, just looking for known bad actors, to this comprehensive decision intelligence approach.
It's a highly technical approach. It uses 3 layers. First, data fusion, then advanced analytics.
And that's where the machine learning models come in.
That's it. And then a final decision support interface for the human officers on the ground.
The scale of the challenge here is almost impossible to wrap your head around. Big data in global trade.
Even a relatively small country can generate billions of records across dozens of legacy databases.
And the unstructured data must be the biggest headache.
It's the biggest correlation challenge. We're talking about huge amounts of X-ray scans, images, video feeds, scanned documents.
How do you get reliable insights out of that mess?
Standardization. That's what the WCO is tackling head-on, starting with their WCO data model to facilitate electronic exchange between countries.
And they're also measuring performance with incredible precision.
Yes, with something called the Automated Time Release Application, or ATRA. It automates the measurement of the time it takes for goods to be released.
So they're benchmarking and trying to speed up the whole flow of trade.
Constantly. And on the physical side, inspection tech is evolving so fast. Computed tomography, diffraction X-ray. It gives them increased accuracy for material specificity.
Letting them detect everything from contraband to specialized threats more efficiently.
And this all led to a huge collaborative effort between industry and these global bodies.
To create what?
The Unified File Format, or UFF. It's now the international standard for scanned images and all the metadata from inspection equipment.
So the UFF ensures that the evidence, the digital facts, can be universally shared and interpreted. It standardizes compliance. That whole idea, standardizing evidence for objective, data-driven decisions, is so critical. We've seen global bodies create the UFF for global commerce. But when you zoom all the way down to the individual, to the pursuit of justice, that need for standardization for objective, fact-based action is just as critical.
It is. The shift in topics is jarring, but the theme of defining a problem using a strict set of standards is paramount. In legal malpractice, it's a very long, slow process.
A prolonged process.
And it requires the claimant to prove 4 distinct elements. These are the rigid pillars of the claim.
You have to prove all 4. First, there has to be a duty of care owed by the professional.
Then second, a breach must have occurred, meaning the provider failed to meet that standard of care.
Third, causation. You have to link the breach directly to the injury.
And finally, damages. The actual financial or other loss that happened because of that injury.
Okay, to ground this, let's look at the kind of scenario our sources provide. A case of medical malpractice, specifically. The misdiagnosis of necrotizing fasciitis.
The flesh-eating disease. It's a horrifying high-stakes scenario where speed and an accurate differential diagnosis are, well, they're everything.
Literally life and death.
Right. And in a case like that, the sources detail how a physician might have failed the differential diagnosis by dismissing life-threatening symptoms.
Like what kind of symptoms?
specifically pain out of proportion to the injury. That detail is often the key to establishing the breach of duty in that kind of malpractice case.
And the procedural urgency, even in a long process, sounds huge. Our sources list a whole breadth of legal topics where this could apply. Car accidents, workers' comp.
Class action lawsuits, wrongful death, a huge range.
And depending on the state, the procedural hurdles are severe.
Very. Using the New Mexico example from the source, cases like that require an urgent review just to meet the mandatory Medical Review Commission filing requirements, and you have to follow a strict statute of limitations.
There was an example deadline, January 5, 2026.
Exactly. You can't ignore that procedural urgency.
So, given all that complexity and the time pressure, how should you even approach finding and engaging an attorney?
The first step, according to the sources, is actually self-assessment.
What do you mean?
You have to decide what kind of client you are. Are you the type of person who is comfortable just turning the entire case over to the firm and waiting? Or do you need frequent updates? Do you need to be actively involved?
Knowing your own needs helps you find the right relational fit.
It's critical. Lawyers have different personalities. Some are curt and brusque. Others are warm and friendly. Both can be equally effective, but the relationship has to work for you.
There's a really practical, almost niche tactic mentioned in the sources too.
Phone call.
Right. Phone calls are often more effective than writing some long introductory letter when you're first looking for a lawyer.
And they even suggest this very efficient 25-word verbal introduction, a template almost.
What is it?
It's a brief explanation of the case, immediately followed by asking if it's the kind of case they handle.
And if not?
And if not, whether they can recommend anyone who does. It's direct. It respects their time.
And to find a specialized lawyer beforehand, the advice is pretty straightforward.
Very. Just Google the relevant law you think applies. Necrotizing fasciitis malpractice law to find firms who are already writing about it.
Or contact your city's bar association for referrals.
For vetted referrals, yes.
We've covered two massively different worlds in this deep dive. On the one hand, you have global institutions digitizing trade and services for peak efficiency.
Measuring everything with metrics like the EGDI and standardizing evidence with the WCO's unified file format.
And yet, on this intensely personal level, when those standards are breached and individual rights are violated, the whole process swings back to the human element.
It absolutely does. The lawyer-client trust, the ability of a physician to perform a proper differential diagnosis, the critical, knowledgeable eye that's needed in a medical review, it all becomes intensely human again.
And the most critical first steps in both of these worlds are identical.
They are. Defining the problem precisely, whether it's a failure to meet the standard of care or a lagging OSI score, and knowing what resources, what structural and legal resources are available to you.
That's a great summary.
Indeed. And, we see governments prioritizing this decision intelligence, this AI in governance, from customs scanners to smart city traffic management. So as these automated systems get smarter and they take on more prescriptive roles, actively assessing risk, recommending outcomes, we have to ask ourselves a question.
Which is?
Will the criteria for human negligence and malpractice also need to evolve? Will we start to see this blurring line between a human breach of duty and, say, an algorithmic failure to predict harm?
That's something for you to mull or explore on your own.